biggest fashion regret.
How could people highlight their hair? You know what I mean? Why would they do that in a million years? Oh, I'm still doing it. All right.
Hey guys, I'm Brice Sander.
I'm Ashley Crossan, and welcome to REU-90s. I'm very excited about our guest on our first episode, Mark McGrath.
All around the world, statues crumble for me. Every morning there's a halo hanging from the corner of my girlfriend's four-post bed.
I'm so honored to be here, Ashley and Brice. Thanks for having me. REU-90s might be the greatest title ever.
Okay, well, we can't get started without having...
We have to get in the 90s.
We have to get in the 90s mood.
Okay, you got props?
We got our 90s box.
We have our 90s box right here that
Okay.
has all kinds of 90s attire. We've got neon visors. We've got puka shell necklaces.
Oh my God.
Slap bracelets.
Jeez.
I've got a funny story about these puka shell necklaces. When in '97, I wore a puka shell necklace like everybody else did, and God, I'm so fat. I went around me. This was a
It's
story.
for a child.
Yeah, well, they're all for a child, right? I mean, when you think about it. So I had this puka shell necklace, and fly kind of hit, and I had some money for the first time, right? So I was eating at nice places and stuff, and I'm like, why does my puka shell necklace keep getting tighter? And I had gained like 20 pounds, and like my fat roll was coming over the puka shell necklace, and so it's a good gauge of whether you're gaining weight or not, or whether you've had a hit song in the 90s. The slap bracelet is so 90s.
How many slap bracelets are you putting on?
Just 5.
The more the merrier.
I'm gonna restrict your use of the 90s box.
Yeah, you're having too much fun. So am I.
We gotta get you some questions.
Let's take it back all the way to the beginning, the origin story of Sugar Ray.
Yeah, the origin of Sugar Ray is we started in Newport Beach, California in 1988. And the local high school band was the band that got all the girls down in Newport. It was a band called the Tories. And I didn't have any talent. Still don't have any talent. Don't tell anybody. But I would follow the band everywhere because they got all the girls. After that band kind of disbanded, they thought of me and said, well, he can't really sing, but there's something there. We became a band called the Shrinky-Dinks in 1988. And then we signed a record deal in 1994 to Atlantic Records and changed our name from Sugar Ray to from the Shrinky-Dinks to Sugar Ray because the Shrinky-Dinks is a trademark name. Okay, and we got a licensing agreement sent in the mail from their lawyers. It was Hasbro and Mattel that said, oh, that's great, you're the Shrinky-Dinks and you want to license our name. That's great. It's $500,000 a year and blah, blah, blah. And these are the terms. And we're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So we called our 12 fans and let them know we're changing our name to Sugar Ray. And that's how the name Sugar Ray was born.
Your first album was pretty hardcore.
So don't you dare mess with my main machine.
It's funny, the first album we were like kids in a candy store. It was called Lemonade and Brownies. And it was released in 1995. The hip hop explosion was becoming huge. It was a real a new stranglehold of hip hop was taking a place on the charts and in the suburbs. You could feel it. Something was happening. And there was a crossover between rock and hip hop. And because we weren't the best players, we kind of turned everything up to 11 and had a little more aggressive, harder style. Some of the slowest songs we ever did on that record, but some of the hardest songs as well. And that built up a little bit of momentum, which led to the record Floor, which had Fly on it.
I just wanna fly. Put your arms around me, baby. Put your arms around me, baby.
Fly was the first song that we really wrote that had some meaning, that wasn't just was about beer, girls, fast cars, all very important subjects.
I relate to all of those
all
topics.
very important subjects. But Fly was the first one that had some real meaning to it. In fact, when I first heard the version I heard of it, it was just to a loop and had the chorus. It was like, I just wanna fly. I almost quit the band. I'm like, I can't, no way. But I looked at the song, I wrote verses to it and put it together and kind of massaged it a little. And a team effort came out and Fly happened. And it was right when Sublime hit with What I Got. Sublime and their producer, David Kahn, really cracked the code of how to mix reggae, hip hop, rock, and that whole Southern California snowboard, skateboard lifestyle all in one and make it mean something. So we said, yes, please, we'd love to use David Kahn. And luckily he got a hold of Fly and made it what it was. And without his production skills in that thing, you wouldn't be talking to me today.
What was that time like when Fly came out and you realized it was becoming a huge hit?
It was the greatest feeling in the world. The song went to #1. We were on MTV. I was on covers of magazines. We were selling records. We had money. All these dreams came true. People were buying houses. And another thing, I think the biggest thing for all of us was like, this is going to be a career now. And it's funny because everybody changes around you. People say you change, but and it's kind of a cliche to say, but everybody just changes around you. They don't know how to act around you, which is interesting. And so it's a whole new world to get used to. On a Friday, I could walk to any mall in any America and no one cared. Now that Monday, I couldn't walk through without being mobbed. So it was interesting. It was fun being the Mark McGrath guy for a while and having the highlights and being the 90s douchebag bullseye. It was fun. It was a good time, but that goes away, but the music stays. And that's why I'm talking to you today.
I know. Well, it's like you keep disparaging the band, but I'm like, look how many hits you guys had. It's like...
Well, it's a way for me to tell you how great we are. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I mean, listen, you don't write 2 #1s, 4 top 10s, 6 top 40s, and sell 10 million records if you suck.
There's the
You know
rundown.
what I'm saying? No, some people out there are going, you really do suck.
We're the black sheep here, so I guess we're gonna have to be on our best behavior.
Thank God there was not camera phones back in the 90s. My God.
I know. Do you ever think about
No,
that?
yes. Here's the thing where I cuss out this little kid and use a word I shouldn't have about, actually the guy called me sugar gay, okay? It's not an insult to me. But the kid was like 12, about 98, 99. And I walked Madonna to her car, give her a kiss in the cheek, and all these cameras are going off. As soon as Madonna drives away, they turned on me. And I got in his face, I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, I blew up on him and said really stupid things, and I'm not a tough guy,
Well, they try to get you to do that,
Well,
right?
they did it. Woke up the next day, it was on Entertainment Tonight, it was on everything, Sugar Ray guy blows up, and Madonna's new boyfriend, Sugar Ray guy blows up on paparazzi. So I learned a life's lesson right there, and if that kid's out there, I apologize, man. I shouldn't have done it. I'm not a tough guy, but it's something that comes up every 6 months, some online radar or someone will post that again, like it's fresh. And then they'll go, what a loser, man. Come on. I'm like, dude, it was 20 years ago. I made a mistake, let it go. So my point being is that, boy, I'm glad there wasn't camera phones back then because I made mistakes then, okay, when there wasn't any. Today it would have made too much to handle, because I like to have my fun, as people know. But thankfully, I've still got all my body parts and I made it out alive. But yeah, I've done some dumb things and they're well documented. But it was the 90s.
With being attached to Madonna but not attached to Madonna, what's one hookup from the 90s that people don't know about? Of course.
First of all, Madonna wasn't a hookup. I let that thing breathe for a while because it was great for me. I still don't like to tell the truth about that. I wasn't going to be the one to say, no, I'm not
Sit back and
Madonna's.
watch
Come
what
on,
happens.
man. Are you kidding me? So yeah, we let that one breathe for a while. We still let that one breathe. We're talking about it now.
Well, I was telling you before we got out here that I went and saw you guys over the summer for my birthday.
Hey!
And it was so amazing because you came out on stage and you were like, we're going to play some new stuff for you guys. I need you guys to take us seriously. And everyone was just kind of like, okay, respect. And then you were like, I'm just kidding. We're going to play Fly 11 times.
We're going to open with it. We're going to play in the middle, and we're going to end with it.
6 encores, all Fly.
It was funny because there's some bands that Sting. We'll reinterpret their hit songs.
Yeah.
I guess you have as many as Sting does. You can do that. But to me, if you're going to come see a greatest hits package, we're going to play the songs as you want to hear them. I am never, ever, ever bored of performing these songs live. And I hear people say that, and I'm like, do you see the reaction you get after performing that? That is a drug you cannot buy. You can't even touch it. I'm telling you, if there's one person in the audience, which it seems to be the way things are heading for Sugar Ray, I will still be performing these songs.
It'll be me.
Well, good. And I heard you loud and clear there, and I appreciate it.
Do you have a favorite song to perform?
It's people react so hardcore to Fly. They really do. I mean, I can see every morning's great too because it was #1 and as well. And Sunday's great too because it was #3. It did well. When it's over,
Answer the phone.
By the way, don't call your last hit song when it's over.
When it's over, that's the time I fall in love again.
It might be a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So think about that, bands out there. That was our last hit. But the hits, they mean something to someone. So there's 4 times in our set where you can really see the energy, and there's like a sea change amongst the people. And these, here's my song. You can see this. This is it. And
This is it. Falls apart.
or you could
Here
see
it
the
is.
4 girls with their wine coolers going, this is our jam. And that's
literally
just,
me.
but that is so much fun. Ashley, that's when you just go, this is so great. There's still meaning in what we're doing. It is a job, you know, and I'm fortunate to call it that, but there's meaning to it, and it means a lot to people. And like, I'm disparaging the band, I'm self-effacing, I make fun of it, but I know how much these songs mean to people. And that, to me, I always hold sacred.
There's one more 90s element we need to get to.
Yes.
The fashion.
Yes.
The fashion. Biggest fashion regret.
How could people highlight their hair? You know what I mean? Why would they do that in a million years? Oh, I'm still doing it. All right. Well, it's either gray or Seacrest blonde. It was funny. Scott Weiland was my inspiration, may he rest his soul, for the highlights. I saw in Rolling Stone a picture of him headlining Madison Square Garden, and he had this suit on, and his hair was dark, and his hair was jet black, and he had a little like a skunk streak right here. I'm like, that's the coolest thing ever. And I had a buddy who was going to beautician school. Now this was 96, and Fly hadn't hit yet, all right? And I'm about to shoot the video for Fly the next day. I want a new hairstyle. You know,
Day before.
Day before, I gotta do a day before. And let's get your drunken buddy from beauty school to come dye your hair. He goes, yeah, dude, I think I can do that. So I went, okay. He started dyeing my hair and blah, blah, blah. I couldn't see it. And he was doing stuff back here and over here. And I go, what are you doing? He goes, I think I want to put dye back here. I go, no, dude, just the one thing. He goes, all right, I'll cover it up. And you don't just cover that. Anyway, long story short, boom, he pulls it off, and it's that hairdo that you see in Fly. And I remember my buddy who directed Fly, McGee, was like, well, what did you do, dude? You just ruined the whole video. You just ruined the whole video. Lucky there was a girl there on site who knew how to cut hair a little bit. And I guess it turned into something because after that, after Fly hit and stuff, people were asking for the Sugar Ray haircut in salons and stuff. The highlights now we laugh at. I mean, they were fighting words like in 2004 and 5 and 6. I mean, gosh, people wanted to beat me up for having highlights. You know, it's like insane. And now that there's a little bit of distance between the 90s, you know, people are warming up to it. And I like to think Sugar Ray had a little something to do with it. You're welcome.
Lasting legacy. You're still touring, still performing, but why don't we get new music from Sugar Ray?
Two of the original guys left a couple years ago, you know, and it doesn't feel right if it's not the original four guys. So I put out an EP about a year and a half ago, Mark McGrath solo EP, just for fun. There's not a big market for bands that are famous now. So for us, it's kind of a niche thing. There will be new music from Sugar Ray, just when, that's the question.
Why did the two band members leave?
And Sugar Ray's a part-time job. You know what I'm saying? It got to a point where, you know, people had to look for other things to do, and this is something you have to love. It just weren't interested in performing live. You know, it didn't end as well as I hoped it would. We became that depressing fourth stage and ever behind the music you see. You know, when I said we wouldn't become the 90s, when you're watching like a Loverboy going, and then they sued each other. And we're like, we're not going to do that ever, right, guys? Never. We became that sort of depressing cliche. Luckily, you know, we've worked it out and everybody's moved on, and that's the good news.
My favorite part is if we want to go see Sugar Ray, we pretty much can, like all the time. This summer, this spring.
It's really cool. You know, there's been obviously a resurgence of the 90s, and for some reason, this guy right here is a so. You know, it's great. I got a show I do on Sirius XM Radio called Mark McGrath's 120, and we kind of look back at, you know, songs of the 90s, and I tell stories and things. And I've also been fortunate enough to hook up with I Love the 90s tour, which is everybody from Vanilla Ice to Naughty by Nature to All for One, Salt and Pepper, Color Me Bad, Young MC, Tone Loc, all these great bands, and we go out there and we play just the hits. I promise you, people, if you come to this, you will have the most fun you'll ever have in your life. The I Love the 90s tour is a lot of fun, so check the website if you want to come see it.
Absolutely. So fun.
This was our first and probably best in the 90s.
And last.
On it now.
Don't watch another episode now.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm honored.